Hello, and welcome to this STP at APA 2021 virtual skill building session. The focus of our session today is on building your students' statistical skills, specifically using the Passion-Driven Statistics Bootcamp model. Clearly, that is a lot to unpack. You might be thinking, statistical skills, ugh, or maybe yay, depending on your background. Passion-Driven Statistics, what in the world is that? And a bootcamp, huh? If you hang in with us today, you're going to get the answer to all of those questions and more. You will likely also have more questions for us, and we can't wait to hear from you with those. So let's go. I did want to start by introducing our team here today. My name is Crystal Gallagher, and you'll soon meet my fabulous colleague, Kristen Flaming. I've been teaching using the Passion-Driven Statistics model since 2015 at my small liberal arts institution in Pennsylvania. I'm really here today because teaching with this curriculum has changed me as an educator and without a doubt has impacted many of my students in a positive way. Kristen Flaming, also joining us today, is the primary support person for our 70+ partners who've adopted some form of the program. Kristen will share her expertise with us coming up. Not joining us today is the founder of the Passion-Driven Statistics curriculum, Lisa Durker. Not only is Lisa the founder of this curriculum, but she is also the PI on the 3-time NSF-funded project we're going to share with you here today. From all of us, thank you for joining us here today to share our passion, pun intended, and enthusiasm for the Passion-Driven Statistics curriculum. We are so excited to be here for our short journey into the wonderful world of teaching introductory statistics with passion. Given our unique opportunity to present this session virtually, we have divided our time into 2 parts. Please feel free to choose your journey with us today. If you are entirely new to the idea of passion-driven statistics, part 1 is a must for you. Get your feet wet and then join Kristen in part 2 to discover how the full curriculum can be transformed and personalized into a bootcamp model. If you are already familiar with the Passion-Driven Statistics curriculum, or maybe just want to learn about the nuts and bolts of the bootcamp model, just jump right into part 2. Whatever path you take, know that we're here to support your journey. I will be talking about some of our support pieces momentarily in part 1, and Kristen will have further details about those in part 2. So let's jump into part 1, discovering passion-driven statistics. My goal today is to provide you with a glimpse into what passion-driven statistics is all about. I certainly won't be able to cover it all, but like any good teaching moment, I hope to inspire you to want to know more. And in part 2, trust me, you're going to get more. Let's start here with a brief conceptual overview of passion-driven statistics before we move to the nuts and bolts of the curriculum, followed by a short section, as I mentioned earlier, on the resources available to you. So I thought it was important to start with the central feature of this curriculum. That is, of course, passion. I hope you will see today how important passion is to this curriculum. It's the passion of the instructors and the students that really make passion-driven statistics successful. In passion-driven statistics, we approach statistics in the service of our students' research and in the service of their passions. We do not teach statistics as a standalone form of mathematical computation, as is often the practice in introductory statistics courses, specifically outside of psychology departments. Instead, we strive to serve students with the necessary skills of approaching a scientific problem from a statistical perspective. Our curriculum is modeled around this principle, that statistics is always in the service of your research. And our hook is that statistics can also be used in the service of your passion. I think some context is important to start with here too. On the one hand, statistical analysis is arguably the most outstanding point of intersection among diverse disciplines. Yet developing analytical skills is often viewed as an obstacle rather than an opportunity to pursue our own interests and to answer questions that you feel passionately about. How many of our students dread statistics in whole or in part because of some sort of math anxiety or past negative experiences with math? Well, this is why Passion-Driven Statistics was created. Passion-Driven Statistics offers a welcoming and empowering space to support introductory statistics students in conducting original research, asking original questions, and communicating methods and results using the language of statistics. Here are some of the nitty-gritty details of the curriculum. Passion-Driven Statistics is a 3-time NSF-sponsored curriculum that specifically engages students in data-oriented projects. We are currently working with the 3rd and final grant from NSF. The goal of this final grant is to disseminate the curriculum to partner institutions across the country maybe such as you listening here today. Passion-driven statistics is an ongoing initiative for reframing introductory statistics experiences in order to tackle real-world questions across multiple disciplines. From existing data, students pose questions of interest and then use statistical software to turn raw data into useful information. Passion-driven statistics uses a flipped classroom approach. The course and related experiences are designed around student research projects of their own choosing, and we offer individualized, hands-on experience in one of many statistical software platforms. And finally, the course is built around 6 recommendations from the American Statistical Association. These are the guidelines for assessment and instruction in statistics education. This is an incredibly informative framework, and I certainly encourage you to check it out. Not included in those guidelines, however, is this. This is what we tell our students from day one, and then what we actually do. We tell them, we are going to take you way outside of your comfort zone, and then we're going to love you through the fallout. We're not going to leave you hanging, and we're going to engage with you when you need it and how you need it. Essentially, we take our students from this, looks familiar, to this, maybe doesn't look so familiar, in 15 short weeks. We let them fail, but not be failures. And speaking of which, my statistics course has a very low DFW rate compared to a traditional statistics course. And this isn't because my course is a watered down statistics or easy statistics course. We're not trying to get rid of the difficult parts of stats. We're simply trying to make those parts much more supportive and accessible to our students. Passion-driven statistics is a truly magical experience. This is not just lip service, I promise you that. And honestly, who describes teaching statistics in this way? As you can see in some of the pictures here, my students really get into it. We have a course t-shirt that's stats themed every semester, which again is very rare in a stats class, in any class, but maybe particularly in a stats class. It's a wonderful experience. All right, so how in the world do we do all this, t-shirts aside? Let's shift gears now into the more practical nuts and bolts of the curriculum, the pedagogical approach. The basic approach for this curriculum is centered around the students. They set the topics by selecting questions they feel most passionately about, make the decisions about how to answer those questions, and do the work to craft what we call their story. There is no sage on the stage in this course as it is almost fully flipped. We've moved the lecture clips, which are actually video lectures, outside of the classroom, and students watch them before coming to class to gain a conceptual understanding of what we're doing in class. These are short and high quality videos that are provided free for your use, and more on that later. Class time then is spent working on lab assignments that directly relate to the video lectures. Because of this, there's an expectation that one-on-one support will be needed by students, and we do provide lots of it since we don't have to lecture in class. Our class is very active and very engaging. Here's a bird's eye view of a typical 15-week semester. I should note that this is the all-in curriculum. In part 2, Kristen will be showing us how we have modified this full curriculum in various ways, what we call the boot camp model. But in my course, the 15-week course, here's what we do. Weeks 1 through 3, I call, what do you care about? Let's study it. During these weeks, students review codebooks for available data. They select 2 to 3 research questions and generate a few testable hypotheses, and they go to the literature to learn what has been done with their topics and sometimes write a research plan. In weeks 4 through 5, I call, it's all about that SAS programming, because I use SAS as my software program in my course. Here, students get a deep introduction to the statistical software basics being used in that course, whatever that might be for you. We also spend a lot of time formatting and managing data in the service of a research question here. So for example, coding missing data, collapsing variables, aggregating variables, etc. Week 6 through 8 is reading the story of our data. This is the first week that starts to look more like a statistics course than a research course. Students learn about their individual variables through conducting a variety of univariate analyses here. They also take a first step toward bivariate and multivariate analyses by graphing their predicted relationships among their variables and learning to interpret those graphs. We then move into weeks 9 through 12, which is how do we find the answers? Excitedly here, students get to answer the research questions through inferential statistics. Students do both bivariate analyses, for example, ANOVA, chi-square correlation, and multivariate analyses. So for example, moderation, identifying confounding variables, and multiple and logistic regression. Last, weeks 13 through 15 is show and tell. We're then able, at this point, to help students fully answer their research questions. A fair amount of time is saved at the end of the course for completing the research project, which is usually in the form of a research poster and most often a campus or class presentation. This is my favorite part of the course by far. Again, what I've described here is the basic overview, which can and should vary. Instructors using passion-driven statistics cover topics that make sense for them, their students, and their course. Part 2 of this session will describe more of that for you and how you can modify this to fit the boot camp model, which is much less than 15 weeks as I'm describing. However, one thing that most all instructors agree upon, including in the boot camp model, is that the poster presentations at the end of the semester are one of the most important moments of the semester. It's at this point that many students have their aha moment. You see them come to life in a way that will both surprise and elate you. So here are some examples of student final projects. Topics of these posters include religion and gun control in one, and sexual assault and drug use in another. Just a few others here. Topics include on one, self-esteem and drug use, and on another, child abuse, suicide, and personality. Importantly, all of these topics are chosen as the interests and passions of our students. Okay, so jumping back to the curriculum. 2 central features of this course are that we provide students with real and rich data sets that stimulate curiosity, and from this, students develop their own research questions. The content of the course is then delivered and presented completely in the service of those research questions. Our data comes from 3 main sources. Public access sources, so these are the major data archives. Community engagement, so for example, a partnership with a local school district or a private social service agency, and faculty data sets related to faculty research. All of my students use public access data from AdHealth, and many of our psychology partners in particular use AdHealth as well. AdHealth stands for the National Longitudinal Study of Adolescent to Adult Health. There are 5 waves of this study, 4 of which are available publicly, and in my courses, I've used both wave 1 and wave 4. Not surprisingly, as you'll see here, the forbidden, what we call table topics, are the most popular topics my students choose from AdHealth, so things like sex, drugs, politics, and religion. And again, they choose these because these are interests or passions of their own. Our curriculum is also inclusive with technology, but all of our partners include technology in their courses. So you have the flexibility to use whatever statistical software program you would like with passion-driven statistics. I use SAS and would highly recommend it, though many of our psychology partners use SPSS. We do support almost all statistical software programs, and we have translation syntax and student-focused lecture videos for SPSS, Stata, SAS, R, and Python. Finally, our ebook, now in its 2nd edition, is free for download and free to students. This ebook provides a basic introduction to the concepts covered in the chapter, then links out to the video lecture that fully explains them. There is generic statistical code for students to work from, as well as an example lab assignment for every chapter. We can provide this to you in an editable download format, so it is fully customizable for your course. So, passion-driven statistics may seem like a daunting undertaking at first, but I want to assure you that if you have the passion, you really can do all of this. I'm going to wrap up part 1 now by talking about some of our resources we have available to help you and your students. Before I do that, I wanted to address one question that always comes up when we talk about our resources. Thanks to the NSF support, all of these resources and the support to you is free, F-R-E-E. And all the materials for your students are open source, so they are also free, F-R-E-E, to your students as well. This is one of the things I love about this curriculum. It is free. So first, let me just show you how much support you have from colleagues at partner institutions across the United States and beyond. I should note our partner institution in Ghana, West Africa in the bottom corner here. There are actually more partners than this as of this presentation, about 70 plus, but this is our most recent visual. If you take a close look, I'm certain that you may have a neighbor using this curriculum already, which I think is a really nice source of support. Next, our Passion-Driven Statistics website is a really good place to start if you just want to check out the program. So the web address for that is passiondrivenstatistics.com. The website has our videos, the ebook, publications, both describing the curriculum and reporting on its efficacy. There are a lot of them, and much more. So if you decide you want to take it one step further, you'll definitely want to join us on Schoology. We have a ton of instructor resources in Schoology to help you implement passion-driven statistics. So if you look at the list down the side here, you'll see things such as lab assignments, tests and quizzes, lectures, notes, basically everything you could need to get started with this. Now, obviously, we do restrict access to this site to keep tests and materials away from students, but all you need to do is make a free account with Schoology and request the course access from either Lisa or Kristen. We also have a fairly lively and active Slack channel for both students and instructors separately for them to exchange information and ask questions with each other. Even with all of that, I know that some of you are probably thinking, this is great, but I still don't know if I could adopt this model on my own and without some help. I know I felt this way when I began teaching passion-driven statistics, and I definitely did not do it on my own. I got started with the free videos, the ebook, and the lab assignments, but what really helped me move forward was the one-on-one support I had from Kristen as I both prepared to teach this course and as I was teaching it for the first and probably second time. Big or small, Kristen had my back on every question or concern I had. And this kind of support plus more is readily available for anyone wishing to give passion-driven statistics a try. We are able to offer one-to-one support to help you integrate this curriculum for the first time, in-class virtual support for your students, help staffing your learning management system discussion forums for the course, and of course, all of the curricular materials. And again, as I mentioned earlier, all of this is free for you and your students. So this takes us to the end of part one. I think this is a really great time to stop. I hope that I've got you excited about passion-driven statistics and that you've really gained a lot from discovering passion-driven statistics, which was the goal of part one. Up next in part two, I am so excited for you to hear more about our adaptation of this curriculum to the boot camp model. You're going to learn what we keep the same about the course, about the curriculum, and what we modify in the bootcamp model, who can benefit from this skill building, possible timelines for running the bootcamp model, and lots more. So I want to stop here and wish you best of luck on your continued journey with passion-driven statistics. Stay well, stay healthy. Bye, everybody.